Hello everyone, thanks for joining in. Today we are going to cover these two tasks. First one, configure multiple routers using config file, and second, creating multiple users via Python script. So let's move on our topology first. So here we are using the same topology as we used in the previous video. So this is router 1, router 2 and router 3. So the management IP of router 1 will be 192.168.65.138, for router 2 65.139 and 65.140 for router 3. So we can see that these three IP is being given from CMD. So 192.168, 65.138, 139 and last 140. Okay, so before starting the script part, let's configure the SSH in all routers. So the command will be, let me write first in notepad so that we can copy and paste. So IP domain name rahul.baranwal youtube.com and IP SSH version 2, and we have to generate one RSA key. The command will be crypto key generate RSA modulus 1024, and then line bty 0 space 4 login local and transport input all, and we have to create one username and password. So username will be Rahul and privilege will be 15 and password will be Baranwal. So let's check the spelling part. IP domain name Rahul Baranwal YouTube, IPSS version 2, crypto key generate RSA modulus, line BTY 0 space 4, login local, transport input all, username Rahul, privilege 15, Baranwal as a password. So let's apply in all three routers. In router 2, config mode, and then apply. In router 3, config mode. So let's check SSH is working or not. SSH minus L. Username is Rahul and IP address is 65.140. So yeah, it's asking me password. That means it's working, right? So let's move on our first script. So as I said that we are going to configure our router with the file name r1.txt, r2.txt and r3.txt. So here we will configure loopback 0 for router 1 as 1.1.1.1, for router 2 2.2.2.2, and router 3 3.3.3.3, and also we are going to configure the ISS. So guys, if you don't know the configuration or concept of ISS, then no worries. It is the protocol similarly we use OSPF. So this 49.001 represent our area, and this 12-bit represent our router ID, and last 00 represent our router. And we are going to call ISIS in our interface, that is G1 by 0. Okay, so this is a 48-bit characters. Okay, so let me show you that nothing is configured in our routers before proceeding. So here we can see that only management IP is configured, that we have taken from DHCP, and in router 2 as well nothing is configured related to loopback, and in router 3 loopback 0 is not there, and I can also show you that no protocol is configured yet, nothing is there, right? And in router 3, so IP protocols, no protocol is running there. So let's start with our script. So I hope guys you are aware till this point, but yeah, I'm going to repeat once again. So as we know that SSH function we use from connect handler function, right? So that's why we are importing connect handler from netmiko library, and here with open node.txt as node list. So here we are going to open this file, that is node.txt. So in this file we have put our management IP of all three routers, right? So I am asking please open this file. I am taking one variable as node list, that is referring to this file. Okay, in this line, or we can say in the next line, for IP node list, so we are going to start for loop, and here IP is a variable that will read the first line in node list. So as I said that node list is referring to this file. Okay, after that I'm taking one variable, that is RB is equal to device type. IP is our IP variable that is mentioned in the node list variable, and that is referring to this file. Okay, so this is not a IP address, it's just a variable. That's why we are not putting in inverted comma. Okay, and here our username will be Rahul and password will be Baranwal. So RB we are using here to define the properties of the device, and in the next line I am taking here one new variable, that is YT, that is referring to the SSH connection with the RB variable. Okay, now in the next line I am taking one more variable, that is sh host, that is referring to yt dot send underscore command show run include a host name. So as we know that the command written inside send underscore command, that is run under privilege mode. So as we know that when we will run this command inside router, the output will be, let me run this command. So output will be host name and what will be the host name of the node, right? So the output here sh host, that will be the output of this command, will be stored in sh host variable, and this sh host will be splitted into two format, means host name will be separated with r3. Okay, so the output will be stored in host. Okay, so this part we already discussed in the previous video, so you can check our last video, so it will help you to understand. So after that we are going to print configuring R1 router in case of R1, R2 in case of R2, and R3 in case of R3. Okay, now I'm taking one new variable, that is config file name is referring to host name 1. So for R1 it will print R1, for R2 it will take R2, for R3 it will take R3. So we have saved the R1, R2 and R3.txt file on the same place where our script is saved. Okay, so the path should be same so that it can take the configuration from that file and execute it in the node. So that's why I'm given the next line command yt dot send underscore command underscore from file, and this is config file name. So here we are going to use one more function of connect handler, that is send underscore config underscore from underscore file. So it will take the configuration from file. What is the file? Config file name, that is referring to r1.txt for r1, as I said, r2 for r2, and r3 for r3 router. Okay, so it will take the configuration from this file and will send the information to YT connection. So YT connection is referring to SSH. Then our router will be configured, and after that we are going to print R1 configured for R1 case. Okay, now we are going to disconnect this connection, and in the last we are going to press enter to continue. Okay, so let's run this script first. So we will go in CMD, and here we'll first give the path. So our path will be desktop. Okay, now here we have to type Python and the file name, that is configuring mrouter via config file. Let me copy once again. Dot py. Let me zoom this CMD. So here we can see that configuring R1, R1 configured, configuring R2, R2 configured. Similarly for R3, so here I think we have given the IPS, then why? Okay, it's done. So let's check our router now. So here we can see that loopback 0 and someone has login via Rahul credentials. So let's check once again. So IP interface, so brief command output. So here we can see that 1111 is configured, and if I'll run the command, so IP protocols, then we can see that ISIS protocol is configured. In router 2 as well, 2.2.2.2, and if I'll run the command so IP protocols, so here also ISIS protocol is configured. Similarly in R3 as well. So in this way, in our migration, in a few seconds, we can configure our routers. Okay, so I hope guys you understand the concept of this script. So now our second task is creating multiple users via Python script. So let's move on our script part. So here we can see that we already covered till this point. So we are using here few terms that is new. Okay, that's why we are taking once again this part because we already covered this user creation in the talent function. Okay, so let's start without wasting the time. So our first line explains that we are importing connect handler function from netmiko library, and as we know that connect handler function we use for ssh connection. So here we want to ask from the user, please enter the management IP of the node and please enter the username of your node to log in, and please enter the password. Okay, now I'm taking here one new variable that is RB that signifies the properties of the device. So as we know that our device is Cisco IS based, and node IP will take from here there, and this is the variable, that's why we are not putting in the inverted comma, and we are going to put here a username from here and password from above mentioned. Right now I'm taking here one new variable that is YT, that is referring the SSH connection with RB variable. Now I'm going to ask the user, please specify here what is your requirement or how many users you want to create. So users will enter as per the requirement, and now we are going to convert this variable into integer because here we are going to use while loop, and we can't compare variable with the integers. That's why we are converting variable into integers. Okay, now suppose users had mentioned that we want to create two username and password. So it will ask me, please enter the username that you want to create, but before that it will compare 2 is greater than 0 or not. If it is, then it will ask the user, please enter the username, please enter the password that you want to create for this username, and this is the command for user ID creation. So as we know that the command is username, then space, then it will take the username from here, and then there will be a space, then we want to create, or we can say we want to give privilege 15, then password, and there will be a space here, and then password will be taken from here that the users has mentioned manually. Okay, so the output will be stored in config command, that is another variable. Okay, now here I'm just taking one line that yt dot send underscore config underscore set config commands. So as we know that send underscore config underscore set is a sub function of connect handler. So the command written inside send underscore config underscore set will be run in configuration mode, right? So this output will be sent to this variable, and this variable is the SSH connection with RB. Okay, so the output will be stored in this config command and will be run inside YT variable. Okay, after that this number will be reduced by 1. Now it will check once again 1 is greater than 0 or not. If it is, then again it will process the all this command until and unless its value is less than or equal to 0. Okay, after running this command, we want to print 50 times dash and backslash n. As we know that backslash n we use for hit enter, right? Now I'm taking one new variable, that is ss user, so yt.send underscore command. So as we know that the command of this output is, let me run this command, show run include username, right? So the username and password we have created here will get the output on the screen. Okay, and we want to print this output on the screen, and we want to print user created successfully, and last we'll hit enter to complete the process. Okay, so let's move on our cmd part. Okay, so our file name is muser creation, so let's copy the file name here, and the command will be python and muser underscore creation dot py. So first it's asking me, please enter the management IP of the node. So 65.138 for router 1. Username is Rahul. Password is Baranwal. Now it's asking me how many users we want to create. So I want to create only 2. So it's asking me, please enter the username that you want to create. So I want to create Rahul 1, and password is Baranwal 1. And now it's again asking me, please specify the username that you want to create. So I want to create Rahul 2, and the password will be Baranwal 2. So this is the output for router 1, right? So we can see this is the output in router 1. So Rahul 1 and router 2 is created. So we can do the same thing for router 3 as well. Okay, so here we can see that no user is created except the Rahul, right? So once again we can run this script. Now we will do for router 3. So first we'll have to enter here 192.168.65.140. So it's asking me, please enter the username to log in this node and password. So I want to create only one user, and username will be Rahul 3, and password will be Baranwal 3. And we can see that user created successfully. Press enter to continue. So we can see in router 3 now that Rahul 3 will be created. So folks, that was the agenda for today. I hope you have learned something new. So till the next video, I am signing off. Take care.